So I remember coming here. I lived in a pregnancy home. A whole bunch of leaders praying over me and just filled with the Spirit and prophesying that I was going to birth revival, that I was going to birth revival. I was birthing revival. And he was here fresh wind. It was the first year he was here without me. I used to come every year with all the youth. And I remember he came, he was 12 years old, and the 20-somethings picked him up. There was like 5,000 people here. I remember it was a lot. And they picked him up as a sign to upholding the next generation, and they marched him around the room, and they had no idea what God was going to do.
And Major, you have been the recipient of a word that changed your life. And how was that? Because that is actually connected to the song that many of us know and love you for.
Yo, this joker did not know me. I didn't know him. I was visiting with some friends at his church on a Saturday after a funeral that I was asked to sing at. And then he points me out, and he's speaking life into me, and he's saying there's a love song that's going to take you into spaces before millions and before few, in clubs, in stadiums, in churches, and everything. And I'm like trying to fit all my songs. He says, trust it. Trust that where God is going to lead you is going to take you to some uncomfortable places, some unorthodox spaces. But God is doing a thing with and through you. And you got to trust this thing. He says it's been a bunch of establishment, but this is your year of advancement for the next 10 years.
As we were sitting there in 1993 in the front row on the right-hand side, there were about 2,000 people there. The first person that he prophesied to was our 9-year-old daughter, Katie. And he said, you will sing before kings and presidents, and your voice will bring. It was astounding, because all that has come to pass. She sang for President Biden. She has sang for King Charles, and I was able to tell that story to King Charles in a tea that we had after his coronation at Windsor Castle last year. It was amazing.
And
I wanted to hear the whole story.
A very specific moment when God told me that I was supposed to do this. I didn't know exactly in which way, shape, or form I was going to reach so many people, but I went to a Pentecostal Baptist convention, and this woman sees me from the crowd, and there was like probably 100, 200 kids there, and she points at me and says, "Come up." And she put her hand on me and she said, "God said you're going to be a hero to thousands of people one day, and it's going to have to do with art. You're going to be an artist, and you're going to touch a lot of people and save lives." And the last thing that she said was, "Are you ready?"
Form.
I don't believe in irony or coincidence. I feel like everything happens for a reason the way it's supposed to.
Prediction that he says started it all.
I was in my mother's beauty shop, and I was looking in the mirror, and I saw a woman sitting across the room from me. And she said to my mother, "Bring me a piece of paper." She said, "I have a prophecy." It's the God's honest truth. I got the piece of paper, and I keep it with me all the time. And she wrote down, she said, "This boy is going to speak to millions of people." I don't talk about that a lot, but I've kind of felt like, well, maybe I have some job to do.
Remember the woman I told you about, the prophecy?
Right.
That was 30 years, that will be 30 years ago next week.
Right.
And then I started acting that fall.